Does it get easier being away from home the more you tour? What would your dream guitar be? Does BVB have any say in which bands they play with on tour? If so, how do you come to a decision? What would your dream guitar be, or what are some of your favorites that out there that you don't own yet? So for a couple years now, I've had my eye on this guitar. It's the PRS Silver Sky. It's the John Mayer signature model. It's their Strat style guitar from PRS. And that's going to be my next guitar. I really like the Midnight Rose color they have. That's one of the finish options. So I'm probably going to be picking one of those up really soon because I don't know why. I just want one. Simple as that. And I'm the only question is I'm trying to decide if I should get a rosewood fingerboard or a maple fingerboard. It's keeps me up at night, this debate, you know. See, I like the way rosewood feels and sounds, but I love the look of the maple, you know, that white wood there. So it's like, do I go for the look or the sound? It's a hard question. So maybe let me know in the comments here which one I should get. But yeah, that'll be my next guitar for sure. Does it get easier being away from home the more you tour? Is there anything that helps you when you feel especially homesick? I don't think it gets easier. Probably it gets harder because you've been away from home for longer the more you do it. But I don't know. It's cool, you know. It's not undoable. I'm just always thankful that we have FaceTime, right? I always think back, it's like, I don't know how they did it in the 80s and 90s and when there was no FaceTime, when the only way you could call your partner was when you check into your hotel and call them from a hotel phone or something. I don't know how that would work. I feel like you would just be way too removed from your home life and your relationship, and your relationship would just suffer way too much as a result. Like, I know me and Rita were always texting, and she's keeping me up to date on what's going on, and I'm doing the same, and we FaceTime several times through the day, and even with that, it's tough. So I don't know how people did it before cell phones and FaceTime and all that. So yeah, it really is the best time to be a touring musician in terms of that. But yeah, it's just part of any job, right? Every job has its ups and downs. And at the end of the day, the fun of playing shows and doing music for a living, and, you know, seeing the excitement on people's faces when you perform in front of them, seeing the happiness that it brings to people around the world, makes it all worth it, for sure. Does BVB have any say in which bands they play with on tour? If so, how do you come to a decision? So I myself definitely don't have any say in that sort of thing. You know, other people in the camp might have more power in that decision. But, you know, the thing a lot of people don't realize about booking an opening band is it's not like you can just book anybody you want, right? A lot of times it'll be somebody on the same label, you know, for that sort of affiliation and cross promotion. But a lot of times the way it works is if you're a headliner and you're booking a tour, you'll book yourself into larger venues than you know you would sell on your own, right? So you kind of overstretch yourself with the size of venue that you do the tour in, with the hopes of getting an opener who's going to sell more tickets so that you can hopefully fill that room, right? So you kind of overstretch yourself, and an opener's got to be able to sell tickets. That's what it comes down to. It's not like you can just bring anybody on the road, you know? I've got friends who play in bands, you know, local bands in Vancouver. I'd love to tour with them, some of my best friends, but the bottom line is their band isn't selling tickets yet in that market. So you can't really just bring them on tour, you know. The only time that thing really works is if you're like Elton John or somebody where you know every show is going to sell out no matter what. In that case, you can bring whoever you want on tour. But for most bands, and the way the touring industry works as a business is that it's a combination of all of the bands pushing for ticket sales to try and fill the rooms. And that's kind of the reality of it. Any tips on time management between practicing guitar and getting through the stresses of everyday life? You know, if you ever figure that out, let me know. That's something that I always struggle with. You know, it just seems like there's always a million things to do every single day. And I don't think there's ever been one day where I've gotten through my entire to-do list, you know. It's tough, and then you try to fit in practicing guitar into the middle of that, or whatever your instrument is, and it's pretty much impossible. So if you ever figure that out, let me know. But, you know, I find the one thing that does help, if I could give any sort of advice, would be create lists. You know, I'll be like, when I wake up, I'll be like, all right, I'm gonna answer emails and questions for an hour here, then I'm gonna film content for a couple hours, then I'm gonna work on this production that I'm doing for this artist here, then I'm gonna edit video, and then I'm gonna teach guitar lessons here. So yeah, I find kind of creating blocks for yourself and scheduling things is a good way to do it, right? And then you gotta commit to that, right? It's like, you know, if somebody calls you to hang out, you'd be like, nope, I got my practicing scheduled, so I can't hang out today. That kind of thing, right? You got to commit to those times that you book off. And if you do that, then you're guaranteed that you're going to find the time to do it. But it just takes a lot of discipline. Would you like to tour with Avenged Sevenfold? I would love to see BVB tour with Avenged Sevenfold again. Yeah, of course. I mean, I don't know if there's anyone out there who would answer no to that question. I love Avenged Sevenfold, being a big fan of theirs, you know, ever since high school. I got into them when their 4th record came out, and I just loved it. So yeah, to tour with them would definitely be a dream come true. I know Black Veil Brides have actually toured with Avenged Sevenfold in the past, before I joined the band, and hopefully it can happen again. You know, I know Avenged is working on a new album right now, so I'm sure they'll go on tour when that album comes out, and you know, hopefully Black Veil Brides can be hired as the opener for that tour. I think that would be a really good bill. I think we'd fit really well together. How are you managing all your equipment when traveling? Things like going on tour and going to rehearsals or the studio. Do you have separate rigs for that? Or do you just like haul it around? Would be great to know. Yeah, good question. So it's really one rig right now. There is a Black Veil Bride storage locker in Los Angeles that we all have access to, and we keep equipment there. So right now my touring basses I kept there. Like the 2 black ones I have, they're currently in that locker in LA, just waiting for the next tour to start up. I've got a couple instruments that I have here in Vancouver that I use in my time off, you know, but I do keep gear there in Los Angeles over periods of time. Other than that, it's just I just fly with my stuff, you know. Like I've got my Kemper with me, and I fly with that. I just put it in my suitcase, or I bring it as a carry-on when I'm flying. I've got one of those like dual mono guitar case bags that you can fit 2 guitars into, so I fly with that a lot if I'm just going for like a fly gig or, you know, a weekend trip here or there. But yeah, for the most part, it's just one rig. When we fly overseas to play shows in Europe or Australia or that kind of thing, oftentimes gear will be rented over there so that we don't have to fly with all our stuff, because that can be quite pricey. But it really depends on the tour, you know. I've done tours where they were insistent on bringing no gear overseas and it was all rented. I've done other tours where they're insistent on everyone brings their gear because you don't want any hiccups with rental equipment. So it really depends on the tour. But yeah, right now we just have one rig, and we just carry it around. Is there anything special that you do to prepare for tour that may be different from other people in the band or the industry? Yeah, I don't know if there's anything really unique to me that I do that other people don't, you know. But, you know, just to kind of share my experience of what I do, really there's 2 sides to preparing for a tour, right? There's learning the music or brushing up on the music and having sure that that's all prepared, and then there's getting your wardrobe together, right? Because the visual component is very important, right, when it comes to playing a show. So yeah, you know, I go and do a ton of shopping before every tour and buy jewelry and clothing and all that stuff, and even just casual clothes to wear on the bus, right, on the tour bus between cities and all that, new pair of sweatpants, that kind of stuff, right? But yeah, really it's just making sure you know the music. Have you ever toured with bands or musicians you idolize? Yeah, you know, I've been doing this long enough that I've been fortunate to be in some cool situations for sure. I think probably the most starstruck I ever was is I was playing at a record showcase with Sean Hook in Los Angeles at the iHeart Theater, and we were about to play his new single, and we didn't even know this was going to happen, but we're on stage ready to go. There's somebody from the record label giving like a speech at the front of the stage, and so they're like, all right, next we have Sean Hook. Before Sean Hook, though, we have somebody who's going to say some special words. So they leave, and then all of a sudden, Taylor Swift walks right past me. She's like this close to me, walks past me to the front of the stage and says some words about music. and she was like 10 feet away from me giving this speech, and I was like, whoa, and that just came out of nowhere, right? Because it's not like I had time to process it and be like, okay, Taylor Swift's gonna be there. It's like she was just there out of the blue, and I was like, I don't know, that was probably the most starstruck I've ever been, I guess. So anyways, yeah, Taylor Swift walks up, and she walks to the front of the stage, and she's like talking about some sort of music charity or some organization, and then we played our song. So yeah, stuff like that's pretty cool, I guess. Apart from that, you know, like sometimes you just find yourself in the company of big stars. Like I remember one time we got to share a dressing room with Fifth Harmony, or just, I don't know, standing backstage and like The Weeknd is like a few feet away from you, you know. Stuff like that's always kind of cool, I guess, but I don't know. When did you figure out music was going to be what you do for the rest of your life? I'd say it was, you know, right when I started playing guitar. Before that, there was a lot of career paths I wanted to do, but when I was 13 and I started playing guitar, ever since then it was really the only option. You know, I never even for a second considered anything else after that. And you know, I didn't know in what capacity. I don't know if I was going to be like play in a famous band or tour with an artist, or you know, even like be like a band teacher in high school or something, right? I didn't know, but I knew that at some capacity music is what I was going to be doing even at an early age. So I was really lucky to find that passion so early on, because a lot of people, you know, even through high school or after high school, they still don't know what they want to do, which is totally okay. Totally fine. You know, some people it takes them a bit longer to figure those types of things out. But I was lucky that I found my passion really early on, and there was really no question of what I wanted to do with my life. It was just, no, I'm gonna do music, like no matter what, and nobody can tell me otherwise.